Hey sweeties, welcome to Ms. Candy Blog, where candy's always in vogue, and so that you stay in the know, go ahead and click the subscribe button now. So today I am shooting on an iPad. Usually I shoot with a camera, so things look a little different, and I have my hair down, so that's a little different too. Let me know what you think about that. You'll see right behind me I have the RuPaul candy bar, and the reason for that is Ms. Candy Blog, the channel, began with a review of the RuPaul candy bar. When I decided to do a candy blog and then RuPaul came out with the candy bar, I thought, what the heck is this? And you can tune in more to learn more about that with that video. I have a bunch of RuPaul videos. Now, some people have made a comment that I'm using RuPaul's name to get views and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, yeah, sure, it might look that way, but I've been a fan of RuPaul's since Supermodel of the World came out, when I and the rest of the world discovered him, and I have been a fan, a tried and true fan ever since. And I am so thrilled that it is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7, that he has really changed the face of the world in terms of queer culture and acceptance. And there are 7 seasons now of RuPaul's Drag Race, and probably at least 100 drag queens that are household names now as a result. And so I wanted to talk to you today about RuPaul's newest album, which I don't know if you know even dropped. Of course, he is the queen of marketing and branding, and so he dropped his album called The Realness, which is why I have my hair down today, because I figured I'd get real with you. So he dropped his album called The Realness right when RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7 dropped, and I was really excited about the album. I am excited about the album. I think it is the best RuPaul album to date. My favorite album predating The Realness would be Glamazon, but I just feel like RuPaul has come to a level in his career and in his self where he is really strong and centered and feels like he can get real. If you listen to RuPaul's podcast, which I encourage you to do so, it's called What's the Tea with Ru and Michelle Visage. Try saying that 3 times fast. Michelle Visage from New Jersey, and I'm from New Jersey, so I feel like there's a bond there. If you listen to that podcast, he talks a lot about himself. And if you've ever wondered about RuPaul, the man behind the monster, as he likes to call it, the monster he calls RuPaul in drag, he really has been peeling back the layers and showing us who he really is and why he does what he does and the choices that he's made and the hardships that he's been through. And it's been very therapeutic to listen to those podcasts. So if you are a fan of RuPaul and if you are looking to hear some words of wisdom, do check out What's the Tea. So back to The Realness. So The Realness, the album, he gets really real. Usually when Ru does an album, he has it narrated. He had Shirley Watkins, and they were talking about, you know, are we allowed to smoke or drink liquor up in here in one album? Another album, they say, Charles, could you get the lights? So all of that kind of banter and stuff is changed on this album, and it's Ru talking about real things that have affected him. And so, again, I think that's what The Realness is about. Another thing that he talks about on this album, which he has not talked about for years, and he is now saying openly, is he talks about his relationship with George, who is his boyfriend or partner. I don't think he's married. He said that he might get married just to be able to say that he did it. But I know that George is an Australian rancher, and they have a ranch together in Wyoming, I believe, that, or is it Montana? I know you guys will correct me, so go ahead and correct me. That George's grandmother left to him. And so Ru spent some time out there on that ranch as well. So on this album, he talks about meeting George, and I have my trusty iPhone because I'm recording this on my iPad, but he's an interlude where it's called I Met Him on the Dance Floor, and he talks about meeting George at the Limelight in New York City. And if you come to see the Limelight, the building is a church. It is still there on 6th and 20th, but it has been turned into a mini mall. it's a high-end mini mall. You're not going to find your run-of-the-mill Gap and stuff like that, but it's a mall. You're shopping in what was once a club, which is was once a church. And if you know anything about Michael Alig, or Michael Alig as some people like to call him, that is where he and Angel did a lot of partying with Peter Gatien, who ran the Limelight, and you can check out the Club Kids, and if you know James St. James, it's all went down in the Limelight. So that is where Ru met George, and he talks about meeting him on I Met Him on the Dance Floor, which is quickly followed up by a song called I Blame You. And he says in the song, it sounds like he's happy, and he's saying, like, I opened up my eyes and I blame you for this love inside, and I blame you. So it's not a negative blame, but it's a positive blame. And the way that is placed right after talking about George, to me, seems like he's talking about George, but then he kind of juxtaposes it right after that, because he does a 2015 remix of Throw Your Hands Up with Lady Bunny. So it's very interesting the way the songs are placed, but I really feel like he's getting real here, because then he talks about a picnic with his sister and how she took some chocolate chip cookies and she put them in a bag, and they went outside, and she said, Ruru. I love that he says Ruru. He doesn't say Ru, he says Ruru, which shows how real he's getting. And he says that this is where he learned to use his imagination. And it's from that imagination that everything that is now in existence has been, was created. And one of those creations that he's created is RuPaul's DragCon, which is going to be the first drag convention in herstory. Yes, H-E-R, herstory, which has made me question gender and gender roles as I want to go to the drag convention so badly. And I'm a biological girl. And one of the songs that Ru talks about gender, he says drag mocks identity, and it says ego loves identity, drag mocks identity. So drag mocking identity has really made me question, what would I wear as a biological woman to RuPaul's DragCon? Would I dress in a skirt, or would I dress in pants? I don't know. Give me some feedback about what you think about what you would wear if you went to DragCon, and how you would dress depending on your gender and drag mocking identity. And then he says ego hates drag. And so for me, this is going back to the topic of the realness and Ru getting real. And right after that track, they place a song called Step It Up. And he starts out and he says, all right, all you biological females who used to have the upper hand, it ain't like that no more, honey. It's about to get tough up in here. You got your trisexual, you got your bisexual, you got your intersexual. Girl, you got to step your beep up. So to me, as a biological woman who's a fan of Ru, I'm thinking, what is this? What is he trying to tell me as a biological woman? Am I not supposed to hold the drag queens in such high esteem? Do I not count per se? I don't know. It really makes me question being a biological woman in this world of queer culture. Not a bad thing, but I'm a real girl, and Michelle Visage reps for us in that world. So just some interesting questions that I have as I'm listening to this song. And then he does a gay anthem, which to me is like his first loud and proud gay anthem, called LGBT. And he says, LGBT, you be who you wanna be. LOVE, you do you, I'll do me. AC/DC, boys and girls and in between. SCOP, ain't nobody stopping me. And then he wants you to tear it down and get loud and proud, which to me I could totally see being a big gay anthem and a big gay anthemic moment at RuPaul's DragCon. So I'm so excited, and I have chills just thinking about that. Then he finishes the album with a track called Thorns of a Rose, and he says that the biggest challenge for sweet, sensitive souls who uncover life's true hoax is to not succumb to the bitterness that accompanies this discovery. And he talks about spiritual practice, as a way to center yourself, and how he hopes that the thorns of the rose don't turn inward and crush those sensitive souls. So this here is really speaking to who Ru and what Ru is about at his core, which goes back to my mentioning of the RuPaul podcast with Michelle Visage, What's the Tea? Really getting into things that are going to help you. It's therapeutic, it's cathartic, the realness and the podcast. Now, my favorite song on the realness is Die Tomorrow, which talks about he's going to dance tomorrow, but he's going to live tonight. And I just love his phrasing in the song where he says, dance tomorrow, live tonight. It's such a great step to the beat moment. I could totally see people strutting on the catwalk to it. I listen to it as I get ready to do my YouTube videos for you guys. So check out the realness. Check out RuPaul's DragCon happening May 16th and 17th. And check out my new friends who are WOWPresents sisters, my drag sisters, that is, Novympia, Nova, and Olympia on WOWPresents. I will give you the link to the channel in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this video, because I know you wanted to know more about me, and I think this video kind of hits that mark, maybe kind of, sort of. And check out the realness. Like, subscribe, and share. I'll talk to you soon. Candy kisses to you.